Hi, friend. Welcome back to Life Coach BFF Show. I'm your BFF, Heather, and I am lucky enough to be the host of this show. Wow, how did this even happen? I don't know, but I'm so thankful for you, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to serve you on this platform. So thank you for being here with me. It's a lot of fun. I can't imagine not doing this with you. And today, guess who else we're doing this with? We are going to have a conversation with JeremyWalker and his lovely bride, Caroline. He is a pro baseball player. He's going to give us all the facts about what we can do to best support our teen or our child who has aspirations to be a pro athlete or even a college athlete. So it's full of wisdom, advice coming from Jeremy and also from Caroline. So I can't wait to share this with you. And before we do that, I want to thank you so much, all of you who have purchased my new book, Keep It Simple, Sarah. Keep It Simple, Sarah is written for teen girls, but so many of you moms, aunts, grandmothers have purchased this book for your preteens, for yourselves, and I am so grateful. Thank you. And I'm also beyond grateful for your reviews on the book. Thank you very, very much. I'm going to read a review to you today from Cadence M. It says, warm, funny, full of bite-sized wisdom. I ordered this as a gift for my 13-year-old niece, but it was like a warm, encouraging hug for my 39-plus self. I had to have my own copy. It's humorous and touching and full of no-nonsense, bite-sized wisdom that isn't intimidating. Looking forward to seeing the author at the book signing. Thank you so much, Cadence. I'm looking forward to seeing you, and I really appreciate your review. Thank you to all of you and for all of your support. So we're going to go now and get right to our conversation with Jeremy and Caroline. Let's get right to it. Fun to have y'all today.
Yes, we're excited to be talking.
To be here.
Tell me about your mission trip to Honduras.
Yeah, so our church, Green Meadows Baptist Church here, where we live in North Carolina, we have had a relationship with a ministry in Honduras over the last probably 20 years.
Mhm.
But so every year our church takes a group down there, whether it's building construction, like putting up some homes for the people there. But this was my first trip going. Jeremy had been once before, but we took a small team with our pastor, and we're really just trying to encourage and just talk with the pastors there about their ministry and just how we can see, more lost people saved in the city of Victoria and in Honduras.
Yeah, we went to one city. It's called Victoria, which is where all of our trips have been to pretty much with our church. And yeah, the church, the pastors and the church system there is just broken right now. And so I think the main goal was for it was laid on our pastor's heart to go there and just encourage the pastors to have unity with them, like between one another, and just to learn together and stuff. So it was really good. I'm glad we got the opportunity to go.
I am too. Okay, so Jeremy, let's talk baseball, because I have a lot of moms who are hopeful, who are listeners, and they are hopeful that their little precious will play pro baseball one day.
Little precious. We listened to one of your podcasts, and it was you answering questions. And we love the part where you call them the LPs.
Little precious.
Yes,
we loved it. You had us cracking up in the car when we were listening to it.
Well, good. Well, y'all are going to have your own LPs one day, and so
yeah, and then we'll know what the word means better. But yeah,
we'll understand how everybody has their own little precious.
Yeah.
Yes, you will definitely understand, and especially when they do things that you're kind of like, that's when you go, okay, little precious, because that's your way of being especially kind. And you're going to get that. You're going to get that. But y'all are going to be great parents. So tell me, let's talk about how you got started. Like, how old were you when you started playing baseball?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't remember a specific age because my brother was so my brother's 2 years older than me. So he started before me, but I was always like going to practice with him and stuff. So if he started at like 4 or 5, I was probably out there when I was like 3, you know? But I don't remember those days, obviously. I remember like my first T-ball game was when I was like 4 or 5.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I don't remember it that well, but I know I loved it. So
I love a T-ball game.
yeah, they're crazy. It's just crazy, but it's awesome.
They're so fun. So were your parents really hardcore? They had two young baseball players.
Um, I think they didn't really get hardcore until we got older. And like we showed that we wanted to be hardcore with it. And I think that's I don't know, one thing I'm seeing now is that the parents want it more than the kids. And
Yes.
that's not good, you know.
I think, yeah, like what you're saying, you and Jacob showed your dedication to it and that you were serious and that, y'all took the lead and then your parents supported you in that. And
Yeah. And they never I mean, they were hard on us. My dad was especially hard on us when it came to playing because I mean, he wanted us to be the best we could be, you know. But he never made it a thing where like you have to play baseball. There's no choice if you're not playing. And I
Right.
think us having that freedom, I mean, there would be times when I mean, I've told this story before. We would go off, we would play tournaments on the weekends, like on Saturdays and Sundays. And a lot of the kids growing up now start way earlier than we did playing tournaments, but we would go play a tournament. We'd be gone all day and we get back on a Sunday night at 6 o'clock and we go out in the backyard and play more. You know, like it wasn't like a thing where we were being forced to play. We just loved it.
Yeah.
And I think my parents realized that, and my parents put us in the best, like they gave us opportunities to see that like love grow, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But it never felt forced at all.
Okay. Not like Tiger Woods' dad.
No, no. And they always, I mean, our priorities in life were, are like our faith.
Mhm.
Um, that was number one. Like there was no question in that. And then school and then sports. And sometimes school and sports got for me a little bit jumbled because I loved it so much more. And my brother was very smart. So like I think they saw that growing up too. But I just had a special like I was good. I was good growing up. Like I just had an ability, you know, and I'm thankful for that. But I think that my parents saw that and they realized that I was good at it. So
Well, and that's such a confidence boost for a
yeah.
young person. I mean, I can remember, this sounds so silly, but I can remember, Caroline's already laughing. I can remember being able to do back handsprings and back flips, and I cheered, and like I don't know, it was just a huge confidence boost when people would
Yeah.
get excited and ask me to tumble. It was
Uh-huh.
it really, I think it helps your self-esteem as a young person to work hard and excel at something.
And I think there has to be I just feel like nowadays parents think that their child is the best at everything.
Yes.
And I think that's okay to a point where like you want to build up your children and you want them to know that you're there to support them and stuff. But like my parents never told me I was the best. My parents
Right.
never like they never told anybody else I was the best. And they rare like at games and practices and stuff. My dad was never like the one to like get involved with practice at like middle school or high school or anything like that. He would let the coach do their thing. And like after the practice, when we were at home, we had a batting cage at home and like we would go out there and hit on our own, just me, my brother, and my dad. So like I think that there has to be a healthy balance between like building your child up and saying that they're the best. Because in reality, nobody is the best. Like I
True.
was not I was not the best. I was good, but I was never the best growing up.
there's always somebody better.
Yeah, and my brother was always better than me too. So I was always like chasing to be better than him, and that didn't happen until we were in college. So like um that's just a huge thing for me is like whenever we have a child, like I want them to be like realistic in the fact that like they can always get better. Like they're not the best at it right now. Maybe they will be one day, but right now they're not.
Right. Well, my grandmother used to say this, and it was so funny to me, but she would say every every crow thinks her baby is the blackest. And
Yeah.
it is the
Yeah.
truth.
That's the truth. That's the truth. And we haven't experienced that yet. So I'm sure when we get to that point, we'll think that too.
Yeah.
But I think parents have to be guarded against that.
I do too. I do too.
As soon as your child thinks that they're the best and they don't need to do anything to get better, they've lost it. Like you're not gonna excel. I'm sorry. Like you gotta stay hungry and you gotta stay like pushing.
Right. So at what age would you say that things got serious, that you noticed you're like, okay, I'm pretty good at this.
Yeah.
This is getting serious.
I would say when I was probably in like 11th grade. I knew that we were good when I was in like middle school.
Mm-hmm.
But like it was never in my thoughts that I could play professionally when I was in middle school. I was doing it because I loved it. And also like I hated losing. So like it was fun because I love the game, but also like winning is fun. And I knew in order to win, I had to be good. So like I did stuff to make myself good, whether that be like I practiced or like on my own. And majority of it was on my own. But I just loved it. And I think that the love like made me better at it. But yeah, I think probably when I was a junior and senior, and that's when I started getting like looks from colleges and like pro teams, was when I was a junior and a senior in high school.
Have you ever read that book, Outliers?
Uh-uh.
You would enjoy that. Both of you would enjoy that book. And it talks about like the Beatles, how many hours they practiced to become a good band, or it's so interesting. Just it gives you so many different scenarios, but how many hours, I'm just so curious about how many hours of batting probably went into making it pro or even making it as a college player.
I don't even know that there's like a number, because I did it every day for multiple hours from the time I was like, probably the time I was like 12, like I did it every single day. And even before then I was doing it every day.
Uh-huh.
But if you think like how many hours would you practice, and then maybe like how many hours?
I mean, like, let's just say that's an hour a day from the time that's like at least 2 hours a day. That's at least 5,000 hours, 8,000 hours. And there was so many times that like I was doing stuff more than 2 hours a day. And then you got games, which are 3 hours. Like,
right.
And the funny thing is like so I pitch, right? I don't hit in pro ball, I just pitch. But when you're growing up, you always do both. And I was awful at hitting. I was not a good hitter growing up. And like that's how people think you're good if you can hit good. So growing up, I was never good. I could always throw and like I could always do stuff like on the baseball field, but I was never the best hitter, and my brother was. So until I got to be a junior or senior, we didn't realize that like pitching could get me, I could get paid just pitching,
Right.
So when I was a junior and a senior, especially, I started just pitching. And that's when people say, okay, this guy's actually really good at pitching only, but yeah, it was crazy growing up.
So did you ever, I'm so curious about this, Jeremy. Did your parents hire coaches, private coaches for you?
This is a.
Oh, wait. Okay.
Okay. That's a big question, because that's another thing is like nowadays people are paying obscene amounts of money to have and I don't want to be calling anybody out that's listening, because I don't know the people that listen to you. So I'm not calling anybody out, but people will have pay an obscene amount of money to have an 8-year-old kid practice baseball for an hour. And for me, I have trouble sitting down and listening to somebody tell me what to do for an hour. So like, how is it for an 8-year-old doing that? Mm-hmm. And to be paying that much money for it and not even knowing if they like it or not? Like, I do think that it's important to like get your child proper teaching and like know the game correctly. But like my parents we never had one-on-one lessons ever.
Okay. That's interesting.
I mean, we had like, we went to like camps and stuff where we had like guys teaching us how to play. And I think when we were older, I had a guy that grew up in my hometown. He was one of my first coaches, but he played at Wake Forest. And that was one of the schools near my house. So he kind of like took me under his wing. But it was never a thing where like we sought him out to like pay him money for, it was more me just asking him questions.
Yes. And the reason I ask is I moved to Tennessee, to Memphis, from a small Mississippi town
Right.
where our younger two are boys, and they always had so many playmates when we lived in Mississippi. But we moved to Memphis, and it was difficult when we moved here to find playmates because these kids are so scheduled with private coaching.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it.
Well, and I think that the reason I got to where I am now is because my brother was older than me. He was bigger than me. He was advanced my entire life to me in every aspect, like every sport, school, everything. So like I was always trying to be as good as him, and we could do stuff just me and him. Like he could throw me a ball and I could hit it, or I could throw to him catching. Like we didn't have to have somebody else helping us. And a lot of the ways that I remember, and I've told people this, and I know for a fact it's true. We would go out to a field, and he would have a bat and a ball, and I would be out in the field, and he would just hit it to me. I would catch it, and I would throw it back, and we would do that for hours. And I know that's why I got good at throwing, and he got good at hitting, because that's all that we did growing up. And I think that's the main thing. Like if I was telling any parent like how to get their kid the best opportunity, like if they love it and they want to get better at it, like they'll do it, like,
right.
And it's hard for a parent to hear, because if their kid's not doing it, you want that for them. And I think there's certain things you can do to like make them love it more. And I don't know what those things are specifically.
Just allow them the space to have an afternoon to like choose if they want to work on it.
Yeah. So you played in college. You got a full ride, I'm assuming, which is every parent's dream. It's my dream at my house. Yes. I know it's my husband's dream. So you got a full ride to what school?
I went to Gardner-Webb University, which is a really small. It's D1, but it's very small. And I got a lot of it paid for, which was very, very big. But I remember going into that process because there was a couple schools, like I know Duke University was thinking about offering, and like High Point University and a bunch of schools that were closer to where I am. But we would have to pay more money. And my parents never told me I couldn't go to those schools because they had to pay. But I knew like they had given me all these opportunities growing up. So I wanted to make it easier on them. So like I went into it. I wanted to have school paid for. That way they wouldn't have to worry about it. And that way, like I wouldn't have to worry about loans, all that stuff. And also my brother went there. So I was able to keep going to school with him. So like that was one of the main selling points of that school.
1 year before Jeremy.
Yeah, he was 1 year. He was 1 year above me.
Okay.
So he went in like 2013, and then I went in 2014.
And did y'all meet in college? Did you and Caroline meet in college? No.
No. So we're both from here in Davie County, and our families actually both went to Green Meadows, our church that we spoke about in the beginning, when we were younger. And I just can remember kind of just seeing Jeremy around church. He's a couple years older than me, and just kind of having that crush on him, like, oh, he's so cute. And then, this is probably like where I'm in middle school, and then, time goes on, and then we reconnected after my freshman year of college. I went to NC State, and then from there we started dating again. But we first met when we were younger, and then reconnected when we were older.
That's so nice. Okay, so let's talk graduation. So you graduated from college. When did pro baseball come into play?
So it's all right. It's funny. So I only went to college for 3 years, and then I got drafted by the Braves, which that was after my third year. So I hadn't graduated yet when I got drafted.
Wow.
Yeah. So then I had the opportunity to stay in school or go play, and I wanted to go play, and like the situation was right. So I went and played, and that was in 2016 that started. And so a bunch of people don't know like the way that minor league baseball works, but there's like 7 levels, right? And so like if the top level is like the MLB, like Atlanta Braves, the bottom level is like rookie ball. So it's your first level. So you have to go up 7 levels, right? And sometimes it takes a year to go up each level. which everybody's different. Some people will start on 3, some people will start on 2, like wherever it is. But yeah, I started on level 1 in 2016. And then for my first 3 years, I went up 1 level each year. Right. And then my 4th year, I was on like level 4, which is AA. It's actually in Mississippi.
Mississippi Braves.
Yeah. And
Okay.
then that year I had a really good year and they put me to the big leagues that year. So that was in
Wow.
2019. Yeah, it was crazy. It feels
So
like a long time ago, but
what was that like? I mean, tell us. I can't even
I mean,
imagine.
it was crazy. Because here's the thing, I didn't think it was when I was in high school, I never thought it was like I wanted to play in the big leagues, but like it was just like a dream, you know what I'm saying? Like there was no like path forward. It was just like a far off dream, and like I was just gonna keep doing what I loved, and if stuff happened, it would happen. Um, but then when I got to college, like I started to see, like I would watch games on TV and think like I can do that, you know? Like I wasn't just as good then, but I thought I could be as good. And then when I got drafted, I was like, okay, like that's my goal, is to get there. So for like 3 years prior of me getting called up, like that was my goal. Like I was 100% going to get there, because that's just the way that my mind works. Like if it's a goal, I'm going to get there. So honestly, when I got called up, like yeah, it was a dream come true. But at that point, it was a goal for me. Like I was achieving a goal. I don't know if that makes sense, but like I had a plan put forward to get me there, and I got there. Um, but I mean, it was awesome. Like I didn't sleep that night. I like got called up and didn't sleep at all. And like I called my parents. I called Caroline, and we weren't married at the time, but um, it was crazy. It was a whirlwind.
Tell them about your first game that you got to pitch in, like running out of the bullpen.
I mean, yeah, like the stadiums are massive, you know, like they're like 4 decks high. So when you're running onto the field, you like look up and you can't even see the top, you know, it's just huge. And there's people screaming, and like you don't realize where you're at. And then you get out there and like you finally get your feet under you. But um, again, like it was a dream come true, but I want to make it like that was my goal. Like it was
Uh-huh.
never like I wasn't surprised to get there. And that
Right.
I don't want to sound conceited, but like for me, like I feel like if you have like something in your mind that you want to get to, like you shouldn't be surprised when you get there, because you're doing all these things to get there. Um, but if you asked me when I was 5 years old, if you show me a picture of me playing in the big leagues when I was 5 years old, like I would have probably started crying, you know, like I'd have fainted or something. Like it would have just been. So that's another
Yeah.
side of it. It's like it was a complete dream come true.
But
Um,
I mean, so you had already visualized yourself being
yes,
there, is what you're
100%.
saying. You had
Yeah, 100%.
visualized, yes. And
A
so
million times.
a
Yeah.
million times. So you
Yeah.
knew when you got there, you're like, this, I've done this before almost.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that doesn't take away from it, because it was still amazing.
Right.
Um, but like I said, I mean, it was where I wanted to be, and I wanted to do everything I could to get to that point.
I can't even imagine how many people cheering. I've been in the Braves Stadium and I've been in the
Yes.
Yankees Stadium. I
And
mean,
so
they're huge.
my first game was in Philadelphia, and the people there are not very nice to Braves fans or Braves players. So let's just like there were some harsh words being yelled at me when I was running out to the mound. They're like in the bullpen, but which I love. Like I love when people talk to me like that, because I gets me fired up. But yeah, it was in Philly, and there was I don't know how many people were there.
I don't know.
There was a lot of people there. And it went good. So that was good too. Like it was I had a good game. And the thing is Caroline and my parents and my brother couldn't be there because they were in Atlanta the night before, because we had just flown to Philadelphia. So my first game was in Atlanta. I
So,
didn't.
and as a pitcher, like a relieving pitcher, he wouldn't have. It's rare for him to pitch like 2 games in a row.
Yes, if that makes sense. So like my first game I got called up, I was in Atlanta. I didn't get to pitch. They were there. We fly to Philadelphia the next day. They couldn't come because it was too short notice. I pitch in that game. Okay. Next night, we were in Philadelphia again, and they got to fly up to see it. And I pitch again that night. So I got to pitch 2 days
Wow.
in a row, and my parents and everybody, and my like
We were
Caroline
able
and my
to
brother,
see it.
they were able
Yeah.
to see it. So
I
yeah.
know I know y'all were so proud of him, Caroline. I can't, I mean,
Gosh, yes. I can remember sitting like I guess we were on the third baseline, and then it's like late in the game. I think the Braves were ahead. So Jeremy was able to come in. A lot of people had left the stadium, but I can remember he's coming in and like all of us are cheering for him. And the people in front of us are like, do y'all know this pitcher or something?
Yeah.
And we're like, yes, we do.
Yeah.
We're his family. We're just so proud of him. And again, just such a surreal experience to like see him out there, you know.
Yes, yes. Okay, so what's going on now? Tell me, you went from the Braves, you got traded. What's going on now?
Yes. So right now I'm a free agent. So
Okay.
that means I'll have the opportunity to sign with, and it's funny because actually 2 days ago was the first day that teams could contact my agent. And so my agent is telling me the teams that have been contacting him. And so we'll get to choose what team I'll go to next year. And honestly, we don't know yet. The offers aren't like final, so we don't know where I'll go. But yeah, I'm just working out right now. Another thing is like I was only in the big leagues with the Braves for half a year. I want to say that too. Like I'm not like where I want to be. I want to be up there all the time, you know? And so I got hurt after half a year with the Braves in 2019. I had a shoulder issue, so I was out for 2020 and 2021. All of COVID and everything, I was not playing. And then I signed with the Giants, the San Francisco Giants, got traded to the Tampa Bay Rays, and then I'm a free agent now. So I'll be able to kind of choose where I'm going. But yeah, it's been a pretty wild ride, if I'm being honest.
Can't even
we're glad to be
imagine.
home. We're glad to be home.
Yeah, you're home for the holidays at least. You won't leave before January, will you?
No, not
No.
until February, I think so.
Okay. I know you're probably not thinking about this right now, Jeremy, but I'm just going to ask you anyway, because you're on to the next big thing in baseball. But later, like, what do you see yourself doing when you're 45? Just curious.
So it's funny because we've actually been talking about that because we're trying to figure out just a plan, I think, of just what it's going to be like when I get done playing or whatever.
Well, it's just you think, like you said, Heather, you think ahead, like to the next thing after that. So.
Honestly, I mean, I want to stay involved with baseball. I don't know if that'll be coaching. I don't know if that will be like having a team. Like, I don't know what it will look like. But actually, I've been working out at this place, and like, I've just had not a calling, but like, I want to help them like get people working out there, like especially baseball players. So I don't know what kind of a job that would be. I don't know if it'd be marketing. I don't know if it'd be like, I don't know what it would be, but I want to help kids like get better in whatever aspect. Maybe not even in baseball. I don't know what like phase of life it'll be in, but I like kids. I like helping people. I like talking. Yeah.
Some way to combine like all of his strengths. He's a really good encourager and leader, and
well, you have a lot of talents, that's for sure. That's for sure. Okay, let's talk about your podcast. I'm so pumped about this podcast. So it's R12.
Yeah, you helped it. You're the reason why we started it. And I said that in the first one. I was like, we met this woman in Florida, and like, and we told them your name, we told them your podcast name and everything, and like, because we were on the ride home from talking with you, not like that day, but on the way home from Florida back to where we are now. And I was like, Jacob, we should just start one, dude. Like, what's it gonna hurt? Like, it's fun. And I think so it's called the R12 podcast. It's me and my brother and our best friend growing up. And then my brother actually he's becoming a full-time youth pastor.
Great.
So I think the main goal for the podcast is just to talk about our faith. Like, I feel like when we were growing up as men, like we didn't talk about it as much as we should have with anybody. Like, I think I'm kind of reserved. Like, I'm trying to get better at talking about like Jesus and scripture and my faith. And like, I want everybody to hear that because he's blessed us with so much. And even if he hadn't blessed us with so much, he's so much more. Like, we should be talking about him and the stuff that he does for us. But that's our main goal, is just to have conversation about it. And it's called the R12 podcast because Romans 12 talks about being a living sacrifice for Jesus. And we want to be living sacrifices. So we're kind of just diving into like what that means. And our last podcast was about social media. So it's just gonna be different topics, the good and the bad, just what we think. I mean, we're no experts. We don't know the answers and stuff, but
Well, no
we
one
know our
does.
experiences. Yeah, right.
Yeah, no
So
one has the answers to everything, but I love what you're doing. I'm so proud of you. I know your parents are so proud of you.
yeah, I told we had mentioned you to my mom because when we got back, we went straight to their house and we were like, we met and the first podcast we listened to of yours was you talking about you were answering questions.
And somebody didn't, I think it was somebody had mentioned that they didn't feel comfortable like asking their little precious to do chores. And your response to them, one of the funniest things was like, well, are you going to feel comfortable paying for his and his future spouse's counseling because
He won't
he
do the
won't be able to
dishes.
help around the house or something like that? So we just love the way that you know, plainly put it, because people need an honest friend to
Yeah.
like tell them, hey, this
Well,
is, you know, what might happen. But
Mhm.
yeah, so we listened to your podcast and we came home, we're telling our family about how we met you and just how you were an encouragement to Jeremy and Jacob
Yeah.
to start their own podcast, and Kirkland, that's their friend who does the podcast with them.
oh, thank you. Well, y'all are such a blessing to me. I had the best time meeting all of you.
I know, it
mean,
was so crazy, wasn't it? Because that was so random. Did you ever get your book? Did you ever figure out your book signing or no?
yeah, yes, yes.
Okay, good.
So the
Good.
book is at Sundog Books in Seaside, and it's a lot has happened since I met you, Jeremy.
Well, tell us some about it. Tell us a brief
A
what you
lot
can
has
tell us.
happened. So, but I don't want to focus on me. I want to focus on you. So
Okay.
we'll talk about how often do you plan to put out your podcast?
Yeah, so we want to do it. We're trying to do it once a week.
Once a week. Okay.
And there's a video with it. Like my brother has all this, we have like microphones and like a video camera and stuff. So like we're trying to do a video with it for YouTube. And we're gonna have people like you talk to us and like you talk to different people. We're gonna try and have people on it. But honestly, I told them I'm doing it more for like me than I am anybody else. Cause like I love accountability. I love relying on somebody else and like having like unity and like fellowship with other, like, yeah, they're my brothers, but they're also like my spiritual brothers, you know? And I think that's so important for Christians, is like having fellowship, like not being on your own, like talking to other believers, because you learn when you talk, you learn from other believers. Like it's so big. So I think for me, I'm doing it just for me. Like I want to learn and I want to learn from
Right.
them. And whoever wants to be a part of that watching, I'd love for them to be a part of it. But I'm excited for it.
Well, I'm excited for you. And community is so important in
Yes.
supporting one another.
Mhm.
People right now have never been lonelier than they are today.
Yes.
They
Yes.
have never, and we need each other.
Yeah.
We all feel like we're so in control.
Yes.
And we're not. We're
Yes.
not in control. God positions us exactly where he needs us
Right.
with me.
And if I can say just one thing to like, I want to make, like, I'm not a parent, so I don't know what it feels like to have a 10-year-old kid who like, I want them to be the best they can, but like, I don't want to push them. I don't want to not push enough, like all that stuff. If I could just say one thing, like God will place, like, there was nothing my parents did to like make me love the sport, you know, like God put that in my life, and you can see how he's worked my entire life. So I think the main thing is just trust, like just trust the Lord and his plan. And like, yeah, I know it's hard because you want to get them the lesson and you want to like put them on this team and you want them to give the best opportunities, which all that stuff is great. But if it's ever to a point where like your kid is like not loving it and like not wanting to do it, like just don't force them. Like it should be fun. Like at the point I am now, like it's my job. Some of the parts of the baseball now is not fun for me. Like the financial side and the trades and like dealing with like upper management of teams, like that's not fun for me. But like the sport, the game, like when I get to play, it's fun. And like as soon as somebody loses that, they should not be playing anymore. So that's all I got about that.
Well, I think they need to go outside and just dig in the dirt, Jeremy. I
Just
want to
have
see more
fun.
little
Just
boys Yes.
Just be a kid.
Yes. So what does your daily routine look like? Your fitness, your nutrition, what does that look like as a just individual and as a couple? Just curious.
Do you want to answer first? You want me to answer?
You
I'll
tell 'em
answer
about you,
I'll
and
answer
then I'll
like me first. So I have a nutritionist and I have a trainer that I meet with probably once a week, and they also know each other. So based on what I'm doing working out wise, I have like a specific nutrition plan. But so right now for like the next 6 weeks, I'm just trying to gain muscle. I'm trying to like get strong. So they have me eating a obscene amount of, I have to eat like 3,800 calories, like 250, but they have all my macros and stuff. But the thing, so I wake up, I probably eat like 3 or 4 meals a day and like 2 or 3 snacks, I would say.
Yeah, I think for both of us, we try to like emphasize eating a lot of protein, just like, protein, carbs, and fat so that our meals are balanced. Of course, during the season, it gets a little harder because
We're on the go.
yeah, you're on the go, and then there's games late at night. But I would say, like, here's an example breakfast. Like, we'll make some eggs with some egg whites, have some oatmeal, some oats.
Coffee.
Yeah, coffee. We love coffee. And then lunch, we'll do just like some sort of lunch and dinner, some sort of protein, chicken, salmon, like beef or whatever, vegetables, and then again carbs, so like some rice, or it kind of varies. We try to keep it pretty simple.
And just for the record, I love candy.
Yeah, we both have
And
a huge sweet tooth.
Yeah, so like we still eat sweets.
We're not perfect.
By any means. We're not perfect.
What's your favorite candy?
Oh my God. I like Sour Patch Kids. I like Reese Cups.
You love M&Ms.
I love M&Ms.
Jeremy, my favorite peanut M&Ms.
Dude,
Yeah,
I need to send you a clip because my first interview I did in Philadelphia on TV was, they asked me what the coolest thing about being called up was, and I said on our plane ride we had like 4 different types of M&Ms. And I said that on TV. So I need to send you that clip because you would like that.
So then after that, everyone that knew him was like sending him M&Ms.
They're sending me M&Ms. They had M&Ms with my name written on them, with Braves written on them. Like, it was crazy.
I hope they don't ever do that for me. I don't think there's any worry of that. I'm not going to be a Braves player, but that would definitely be my downfall.
We still eat sweets. I think it's a balance, because we're both really active and we love being active at the same time. Like, we want to keep it a balance.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yes. Well, thank y'all so much. I've enjoyed this. I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed this time with y'all. Thank you.
Thank you for having us on.
Yeah.
I'm glad we could do it.